I'll never forget the moment I realized that I was officially in perimenopause. I didn't want to own it until I had to, let me be clear. And that day, it felt like far from a celebration. It felt like I was embarking on a treacherous journey and I hadn't packed everything that I needed and I wasn't allowed to go back. I had just turned 44 years old and I was 7 days out from my period, so in my late luteal phase. And for the third month in a row, I had felt a deep sense of dread from the moment I woke up with bouts of rage, like a fire deep inside of me that I could not extinguish. And everyday tasks that I was able to do with ease just days prior felt insurmountable. It felt like I was crawling through mud just to get through my day. Now, as someone who has supported thousands of women with similar symptoms, I knew exactly what it was: the progression of progesterone deficiency and the start of estrogen deficiency and the start of an ovulatory cycle, so cycles without ovulation. This was perimenopause, and it felt deeply destabilizing. Now, unlike pregnancy and puberty, many of us have not been told what to expect. If anything, women have been constantly told that nothing is wrong, or it's just aging, or it's just midlife, or whatever gaslighting phrase has been used on millions of women for years. Or we've even been told, be grateful that you still have a period and stop complaining. It's no wonder that information about perimenopause seems to be everywhere all of a sudden, because finally women can put a name to what they've been experiencing. It feels like a gigantic relief to have your disruptive symptoms finally validated and to realize that you were not crazy after all. And just really quickly, to be honest, I really didn't know what to expect regarding puberty and pregnancy growing up. We still did a terrible job back in the day, but I'm just saying that we actually recognize these hormonal transitions, and there has been a lot more information about what to expect during puberty and pregnancy. You know, for instance, when I was pregnant, there were a slew of books to choose from. Unfortunately, when we're talking about the transition into perimenopause and menopause, it has been crickets until recently. It's heartbreaking to know that millions of women, 24 million women in perimenopause and 50 million women in menopause in the US currently, have been suffering through the perimenopausal transition, and that most women have been told that menopause is just eventually coming. Like, that's it. Like, you just get to menopause, as if there was no transition to get there. Oh, and the best that we have for you in peri, if you're dealing with some symptoms and we're even willing to recognize that you are dealing with symptoms, the gold standard of care in the US healthcare system is hormonal birth control pills and hormonal IUDs and some antidepressants until they reach menopause. Except when you are on birth control, you will never know when you reached menopause, because the whole point of hormonal birth control is to turn the entire reproductive system off. It's called contraception, so that you don't get pregnant. So nothing like falling off a cliff into menopause, like deep into menopause or post-menopause, after abruptly halting the pill at, say, 52 or 53 years old. That's typically when we'll take women off of them. But no, you can't have hormone replacement therapy, which is smaller dosage in actual bioidentical hormones, in your 50s. So it's just, we deserve better than this. Don't you agree? And we deserve to know what to look out for in early perimenopause while we still have a regular cycle. Yet symptoms are beginning to present themselves. We deserve a what to expect when you hit perimenopause manual and stuff is hitting the fan, right? We deserve that manual. Luckily, I am writing that manual right now. So I sat down last year after my symptoms started and I wrote out advice that I would have loved to have given my 40-year-old self or my 39-year-old self before the brain-related symptoms hit me like a ton of bricks. And mind you, I went from postpartum to perimenopause without much of a pit stop. So perimenopause did feel a bit abrupt and unrelenting to me. Now, the best way to describe it, honestly, is that I just didn't feel like myself anymore. After I sat for a minute and thought about it, I decided to give myself 5 pieces of advice I would have loved before early perimenopause. And I thought that it would be helpful to share here. And the reason why is that women in their mid to late 30s deserve a heads up, deserve to know what to expect when the symptoms begin to arise. And here's the deal. It may not be your menstrual cycle. Majority of women don't experience menstrual cycle changes probably until a couple of years deeper into the perimenopausal journey. I mean, it's different for every single one of us based on our menstrual cycle before, based on life circumstances, based on a lot of factors, based on things like polycystic ovarian syndrome or insulin resistance. Like all of that is playing out, or even thyroid issues. So many of us are coming into perimenopause already dealing with other menstrual cycle related issues or dealing with other chronic conditions. So we just have to, that needs to be important to note. So here's the pieces of advice that I would have given my early perimenopausal self. And honestly, the first one is one of my favorites. Now, before I share it, I'm going to be straight with you. At age 45, at my current age, I am still in early perimenopause, which means that my cycle is still regular, even though it is shorter than it used to be. Like my cycle used to be 28, 29 days. Now it's 26, 27. It can be inconsistent. And that's often what you can expect in perimenopause. But that doesn't mean, again, that I don't have symptoms. Cycle changes are just one sign that you are in perimenopause. And as I mentioned just a second ago, it's often not the first sign. No matter how often you've heard that, we got it wrong. No surprise. We got a lot of things wrong when it came to understanding perimenopause. Initially we thought perimenopause was when you were just skipping periods or you were going without periods for more than 60 days. And we realized that that's actually late perimenopause, that women have actually been in perimenopause, 4 to 3 years prior. Kind of similar to puberty. Puberty takes about 8 years, give or take, to really go through. Same thing with perimenopause. On average, it's like 8 years for a lot of us. And it can be longer or shorter. It just depends on the person. So here's the first piece of advice. And this is one I cling to some days. And that is, you deserve to feel good. I just want you to just sit with that for a minute. Because sometimes when I read that, I don't know, I really struggle because it almost feels too good to be true. But it's such a beautiful reminder and it's such a great affirmation. You deserve to feel good. Isn't that the truth? You deserve to feel good at any age. Now, if you're wondering how to cultivate that, if that's feeling, impossible or insurmountable right now, it's really about punctuating your day with the things that you love, the things that bring you joy, that nourish you physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And for me, no surprise, I feel like every midlife woman's probably gonna say this, but for me, it's alone time. It's walking out in nature. It's reading a book by myself. And I commit to doing this at least once per day, even if it's just 5 minutes. I can put on my tennis shoes and walk out the door by myself. And my goodness, it is one of the greatest gifts I give myself every day. And you deserve it too. Which leads me to number 2. Number 2 is walk outside in nature every single day. There are so many benefits to walking out in nature, and even more when you are out in sunshine. By far, my favorite benefit to walking is the energy and the happiness boost that I get after being outside for about 5 to 10 minutes. Ideally, I try to take a 15 to 20 minute walk. Like if I'm speed walking, which is really my normal speed, I'm one of those people. If I'm speed walking to the beach and back, I can turn around. I can turn and burn it in 18 minutes. Sometimes like 18 to 19 minutes, 18.5 minutes. I don't know. Like that's, if you want, like my son today, I was protein pancakes for breakfast. And I was doing all kinds of things. Let's be honest, I'm a mom. And my son tells my husband, Alec, that mama is in action mode. And my husband just giggled because that's me all the time. I am always in action mode. I am constantly doing stuff. And I just thought it was funny. Kingston was just like, mom's in action mode. And it just made us laugh because that's very much who I am. So walking has become one of my favorite daily habits that I am committed to. One of the reasons why I love it is that movement is life. Like probably the thing that I have been telling everybody is to move as much as possible whenever possible. Not only does it stabilize blood glucose levels and creates more insulin sensitivity, but it helps to support your joints. It helps to support your metabolism. It supports your brain. It's great for your digestion. I mean, on and on and on. I even have a podcast episode fully devoted to walking after meals that I will post in the show notes. And I think this is literally the best longevity hack I can offer. It's a game changer. And the thing about perimenopause is a window of opportunity. And so if you are just getting into perimenopause or you're in it right now, the more that we can support our muscles, the more that we can support our metabolism, the more that we can just be moving our body throughout the day, we win the game of life. That's the deal. Because being sedentary is literally killing us. That it's being shown that workout you're doing, that 50-minute workout, whether it's a HIIT workout or whatever, is being canceled out if you are sitting at a desk for 5+ hours a day. What I recommend is just getting in exercise snacks, walking snack, just be moving intentionally throughout the day. And ideally, if you can do it, be out in nature. All right, number 3, let go of things and people that do not serve you. Especially as a mama to a preschooler in perimenopause, my time is valuable. Your time is valuable. Now more than ever, I am crystal clear on the projects, events, people, and work that aren't necessary to have around. And it feels so good. Letting things go, having fierce boundaries. That is the name of the game. Because do we really have time for people and things that are not showing up to serve us anymore? Do we really have time for obligations that we hate doing? No, thank you. So letting go of baggage and things that don't make me feel alive, just letting those go feels so good. And I think a lot of these things, especially number 1, you deserve to feel good. And then number 2, letting go of things and people and projects and whatever it is, obligations that are just overwhelming your system. I mean, in perimenopause, we see such an uptick in anxiety, depression, ADHD, trauma, panic attacks, so many things that are going on with us, increased PMDD and PMS symptoms, having a life that is saddled with so much stuff that's making us feel overwhelmed isn't doing us any favors. Definitely isn't good for our mental health. And if we really evaluate it, if we put it on paper, journal it out, and sit with it, you'd be surprised at how much you can just let go or how much that you can just delegate. That has been such a powerful tool of mine. All right, number 4, become more fully present with the people and the projects that you love. So instead of giving energy to the things that you don't love, give energy to the things that you do love. We all know that being fully present is the best way to play full out. And if you want to feel good, that means really savoring the present moments as they happen and be fully immersed in that moment. That's how we create a richer, more meaningful life. Now, I still struggle with focusing on the future. I'm very future focused or future facing. I'm always planning for the next thing. I'm focusing on the goals, but I'm learning to lean into the present moment even more and more and to live in the magic and really to experience more and wonder on a daily basis. I mean, I think that's the ticket. I am also trying to embrace the joy of the mundane because let's be honest, a lot of our day isn't magical. We're folding laundry, we're getting dinner ready, we're prepping for breakfast, we're working out, we're doing work tasks, all the things. The list is endless, let's be honest, the to-do list. But if you could just take a moment and just be in that moment, hopefully at least being okay with it, but maybe even loving it. Or again, punctuating your day with the things that you love, even if it's just 2 things a day or 3 things a day, just savoring those moments or savoring that meal. I mean, that level of mindfulness changes everything. There's so much research in the benefit of mindfulness, particularly for us in midlife, when we have so much that we're holding on to. And then number 5, I think this is so important. I think that the tide is changing here and we're getting educated, but know that your body and hormones are shifting and transitioning during this time in your life. So extra grace is required as you transition from childbearing years into your wisest midlife years. During this time, get clear on your non-negotiables for your health, get clear on your boundaries, get clear. I always say, you know what? It's not time to mess around in your 40s or your 50s. It's time to lock and load on your non-negotiables because again, this is a window of opportunity where things can go. I always say we're at a fork in a road. You can go one direction or you can go the other. And I want more health span. I want more longevity. I don't want to be saddled with chronic conditions. I don't want to be saddled with chronic pain. Like I'm not interested in any of that. And there are definitely days where I have a lot of pain. And so how am I setting myself up for success? By choosing the health habits, by choosing the non-negotiable habits that are going to move me towards feeling my best. So no matter what you're going through, embracing the pivots that your body is making right now and putting practices and habits into place that will help you thrive as your body continues to pivot, like that is winning the game. So I would say focus on eating more for your energy, your metabolism, your blood sugar, your brain, your liver, and your gut. Be asking yourself, like, is what I'm eating today going to serve my future brain tomorrow? Move your body daily and focus on getting stronger and maintaining muscle and bone mass through heavy lifting. So for instance, I didn't have a lot of time this morning, just a very full day, but I had 15 minutes. And it's amazing what you can get done in 15 minutes when it comes to lifting heavy things. So I did a 15-minute upper body strength training session and man, I was done. It doesn't have to be 50 minutes. It doesn't even have to be 30 minutes. Like get in where you fit in. I knew that I was going to be walking a lot throughout the day today. And so I was like, okay, okay, let me just get this 15-minute weight workout in. I'm recording this on a weekend. We have holiday things. We've got friend stuff. We got all kinds of stuff going on. We're putting a Christmas tree up. I mean, the whole thing. And so I knew that if I was going to get stronger, it was going to be in the 15 minutes I had in the morning. And so again, just get in where you fit in. It doesn't have to look a certain way. I used my Peloton app on my phone. I have weights in my bedroom. I didn't leave my bedroom because I knew that the second I left my bedroom, it was over. It was over for me. So I just got it done. Just move your body, lift those weights, continue to do the emotional work and clear the patterns that aren't serving you anymore. I know that is the hardest work. Believe me, it is worth it. Get outside in nature to support your circadian rhythm, to support your mitochondria, to feel good in your body, to boost those happy neurotransmitters. Take supplements to support cell signaling, mitochondrial function, and hormone communication, along with supporting detox pathways. Commit to a solid sleep routine, like I'm talking about going to bed and getting up at the same time every single day, no matter what. Nurture and support relationships and family, the people that matter most to you, not family that you don't love. I mean, I have family in my life that I do not talk to anymore. I am so good with that. That is a strong, I can love you from afar, okay? It's a strong boundary. But nurture those relationships that matter the most. Community is what's going to get us through. Soul sisters are what are going to get us through this phase and the next. And then lead with gratitude and joy, because they spiral together in an upward trajectory. And I would really, I don't know about you, but I would really love to experience more of that. I want that upward spiral, not the downward spiral. And although I do plan to continue to dive a bit deeper about what I would love this transition to represent, these are the pieces of advice I'm giving myself. And I feel really good about creating rituals and habits to support all of it. So this is what I'm stepping into. This is what I stepped into all of 2024. I figured out that I was in perimenopause in 23, and I was like, okay, let's get to it. Let's start nourishing my body. And let me tell you, my symptoms are better. Every month is a different month. Some months my symptoms are, okay. But some months are really great. Also, I want to just full disclosure, I'm on hormone replacement therapy. So I'm doing a lot of the healthy habits. I'm honoring my metabolic health, my emotional well-being, and I'm also leveraging hormone replacement therapy. Just know that there's a lot of tools in the toolbox that you can step into, that you can begin to integrate and implement, and that you deserve all of them. Now, to close out this short episode, I want you to know that I am currently writing a book on perimenopause. I have a pretty crazy deadline right now that I'm working on, literally nonstop. It's my goal for this book to be a resource for thousands of women who are in perimenopause and who are seeking support, but also for women who are in their 30s and that are approaching perimenopause so that they know what to expect. We deserve to have a book, What to Expect When You're Expecting Perimenopause. So that they feel prepared for what's to come, right? For that often decade-long transition to menopause. There is so much that we can do, and I promise I'm going to cover all of the bases in this book, but also here on the podcast. So if you love this episode, take a moment, subscribe to the show. There's going to be more of this. Lots of content on perimenopause and midlife and all the changes, emotional, physical, metabolic, name it. I want you to feel so prepared. If there are 75 million of us in perimenopause and beyond, we deserve all of the resources. We deserve to know everything there is to know about the second half of our life. That's what I wanted to share today. And if you're loving the show, subscribe, rate the show, take a moment. This is also on YouTube as well, so go check it out. And if you're looking for humor around perimenopause, but also the things that we can do to really move the needle in our health and wellness, check me out on Instagram. It's at Dr. Mariza, DrMariza. I have some pretty ridiculous memes on peri that I think that you'll appreciate. Till the next episode, have a beautiful day.